Good evening and thank you for joining me. We had a very significant earthquake today at Campi Flegrei. Very, very significant earthquake today at Campi Flegrei. A 4.2. The largest earthquake ever recorded at that volcano. This is the largest earthquake ever recorded at this volcano. There's never been a 4.2, at least not in the last 40 plus years. Yeah. No. Yep. That's me. I'm neurodivergent, so. You know, a lot of people have both anxiety and autism. Yep. Yep. I have this, but also this. I have both. But all right. Anyway, let's look at hashtag Puzzoli. Major earthquake. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Yep, no damage. And then a 4.2 hits. Yeah. A freaking 4.2. Terremoto Italia means earthquake Italy. Big one. Yep. Alrighty.
Nei Campi Flegrei. Professore, il fenomeno è più attivo che mai. Lei in qualità di direttore dell'osservatorio cosa ci dice?
Yeah, Campi Flegrei. Oh. Campi Flegrei. Maybe he vented the gas. Yeah. It's not about gas, it's earthquake. That's Kilauea. Schiami. Earthquake swarm. Seismic swarm. Yeah, seismic swarm. See? Yeah. In progress in Gorsko. Shock of terremoto. There's no news of Danny. Danny means damage. A tornado in Italy. Wow. I will see that's a tornado or a microburst. Let me see what it is. Tornado in Milan. Huge tornado hits Roy. Prejanana. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, of course. English. Uh-huh. With heavy delays. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, the earthquake is even causing delays. Wow. Not good. A 4.2. Right near Solfatara. Wow, right over Solfatara. Yikes! Right at Solfatara. Yikesy. Portal, Sisma. Yeah, where's that 4.2 hit? Jesus Christ. 4.2. Yikes. That is just scary. Yikes. Yikes. 4.2. Yikes. Oh my lord. A freaking 4.2. That's just insane. A 4.2. Holy crap. Ugh. Um, yeah. This is the biggest quake that has ever occurred at Campi Flegrei. The largest quake. Yeah, this is a big quake. The cause of this is actually volcanic uplift. Okay. Oh, 25. Yeah, Google 25th anniversary. I want the original Google. Yeah, this is the one I want. Ooh! Ooh! Sparkles. Ooh. Ooh. Happy birthday, Google. Alrighty. Okay, alright. Alright, so this is what I'm going to show you guys. Alright. OV, that's Observatory Vesuvius, so OV dot ingv. Oh, so www.ov.ingv.it. And let's index. Let's try that. Maybe that can work. Okay, surveillance. The Campi Flegrei weekly. So let's go to 2023. And let's go here to weekly. So we had a good amount of quakes. We also had a 3.2 on the 22nd. Usually quake is shown on the 25th. Okay, but the main reason this is, look at that right here. Significant uplift right here. Very rapid uplift. I mean, if this is true, if it really did uplift this fast, that is very, very bad. I mean, it does look like that might have actually indeed happened. Uplift rate is starting to accelerate. Could this be the beginning of a new seismic crisis like in 1982 to 1984? It is indeed possible. You know, we definitely don't want that to happen. Plus, look at that. CO2 emissions are increasing. Yeah, temperature decrease. But emissions are starting to go up again. That could be a new batch of magma that's going into the volcano. Potentially. But let's... Yes, but uplift rate at Campi Flegrei is increasing. We are seeing a faster uplift rate at the volcano right now. All right. So we are definitely seeing significant uplift right now at the volcano. Also, quakes are still continuing. You see a little one there. So yeah, that was a very small one, but yes, there is still occasional quakes. These are not harmonic tremors. It's only showing up on one seismic station. So, will this volcano have another super eruption? Probably not. Alrighty.
Replace the infamous turnstiles New York City is known for. These gates are very similar to the one that was installed at the Atlantic Avenue station a few months back. While this is improvement over the turnstiles and brings New York City closer in line to other transit systems like the London Underground, these gates look just as easy to fairgate with. We'll see how it pans out in the future though. Until then, let's enjoy all the tourists trying to figure out how to work these dams. Recently, the MTA has installed new fare gates at the Suffolk Boulevard station on the E and J lines. These new fare gates replace the infamous turnstiles New York City is known for. These gates are very similar to the one that was installed at the Atlantic Avenue station a few months back. While this is improvement over the turnstiles and brings New York City closer in line to other transit systems like the London Underground, these gates look just as easy to fairgate with.
All right. So yeah. Yeah, so definitely this is a very powerful quake that occurred. I mean, these are not new earthquakes right here. This is a continuing swarm, basically. It quickly tails off. Looks like the quake lasts about a minute. I mean, Alright. So the cause of this quake is what I would call brittle fracture quakes. because the ground is rising up. There's a lot of faults inside the caldera, and so you might be getting brittle fractures in the caprock. The caprock did not give way. This wasn't big enough for a caprock to give way. But we are getting close. I would say an eruption will occur at Campi Flegrei within the next 10 or 15 years. And it could be a big eruption, potentially larger or just as big as a 1538 eruption. Yeah, that's a pretty significant earthquake. I mean, I really hope it doesn't break. I mean, even if the caprock breaks, it doesn't necessarily mean we are going to have an eruption. But some study says that a rupture could occur. And a rupture would cause a very powerful earthquake, likely stronger than a magnitude 5 or 6. And it is the earthquake that can cause the most damage. And they said that there might not even necessarily be an eruption because the magma in the chamber, in the shallow chamber, is under 1 cubic kilometer. All of this uplift in Campi Flegrei has been caused by under less than a cubic kilometer of magma. The issue is that another separate magma chamber underneath under the shallow one is over several hundred cubic kilometers. But it's applying the potable or the potable magma chamber, like Mount St. Helens had a smaller magma chamber, and then a much larger one that underlied that one. This could be what is going on at Campi Flegrei, and it could be the same thing that happened in 1538. However, the melt percentage at Campi Flegrei, it is very high. Over 60% melt. That could be a problem because if the magma erupts, you could have lava fountains shooting up hundreds of feet into the air and bombs of lava going, even further. You might be having, pyroclastic flows that can go for about 1 or 2 miles around. It will be like a strong end Strombolian eruption to a low end Volcanic eruption. So VEI 2 or 3 eruption is looking more and more likely. Keep in mind, you had this type of event going on for a couple decades before 1538. So this is what's going on right now. Look at that rate of uplift. This could be the beginning of a new seismic crisis, or could that just be a hiccup? Let's wait next week and see what happens. But something is telling me that the uplift rate could be speeding up. Because between 2022 and 2023, we only had about 120 millimeters of uplift, which is about 12 centimeters. Nothing too bad. That's about 6 or 7 inches. I mean, it is impressive, but nothing too crazy. That's 120. We've already surpassed 250. We've already surpassed over 100. So right here, this would have been 100 right here. We've already surpassed. So right here, this would have been 100. Right here. So 1, 2. This is when we surpassed 100 millimeters. So let's go 120, right? We've even surpassed last year's rate. 140 would be right about here. So we've even surpassed last year's rate already, and it's only September. We will likely surpass 300 millimeters. So this could be the most rapid year on record, and that's why we're having so many earthquakes, because the ground is being uplifted, and you're putting all this pressure on the caprock and the faults in the caldera. Not every earthquake is because of the caprock. Like these smaller ones could be related to the fault. Even this one could be faultal. Could also be related to caprock. Let's look at the 1538 eruption. Eruption, no. Magma transfer. There we go, magma transfer. This is not what I was looking for. Okay, there we go. On September 29, 1538, an eruption began which built the cone Monte Nuovo, which is 123 meters, during 1 week. A modern summary of the eruption has been given by Di Vito et al., which is basically how you cite. Also containing continuous citations from contemporary reports. The eruption was preceded by a period of uplift that ended a long period of subsidence. Although the beginning of this uplift is not precisely known, the emergence of new land from places formerly occupied by the sea was first noted by residents of Pozzuoli in 1502. This uplift from the early 1530s, accompanied by unusual seismicity, that reached a first climax in the spring of 1534. Still more earthquakes were felt in the area during the following 4 years, dramatically increasing during 1538. On the 28th, day before the earthquake, about 20 tremors were felt between daybreak and nightfall. Meanwhile, other dramatic changes were taking place. In the area between M. Barbaro, Lake Averno, and the coast was a remarkable uplift of the ground, displacing the coast by several hundred meters. Some sources tell of an uplift amounting to about 7 meters, a value that is not exaggerated. Uplift by up to 6 meters occurred during the night preceding the 1994 eruption of Rabaul, Papua New Guinea volcano. At 2000 or 10 p.m. on September 29th, actually 8 p.m. on the 29th of September, a crack opened in the area of maximum uplift next to the ancient Roman settlement of Atrributed. According to contemporary sources, the newly opened vent emitted vast amounts of pumice, fire, and black and white smoke. The white smoke was probably sulfuric gases, but could also be hydrothermal gases, such as water vapor. Much of the ejecta fell as muddy ash. Yeah, so there was some interaction with water, indicating that water played a significant role in the initial stages of the eruption. So it was phreatoplinian, or phreatic, or partially phreatic. Hydromagmatic. Meanwhile, other dramatic changes were studies of the deposits, sequence of rapidly alternating styles of reflecting various degrees of magma-water interactions. The basal Monte Nuovo deposits are surge deposits, pyroclastic flow. However, the flows were relatively cool, indicated by the lack of welding, so probably a phreatic. It was a phreatic eruption. So it was likely initial phreatic, degassing pipes and signs of plastic deformation. So there wasn't any. That the flows were relatively cool is indicated by the lack of welding, degassing pipes, and signs of plastic deformation, which means that pyroclastic flows were basically steam and ash, not superheated. The flows or surges did not flow beyond a few hundred meters from the map. So basically, only really close to the eruption site. When entering an inlet several hundred meters to the west, the surges obviously did not cause large waves. An ancient temple standing on the shore was not affected by any wave damage. Rigorous activity of this kind occurred during the first 24 hours of the eruption, followed by 2 days of lesser activity. Ash from the initial activity fell over a wide area as far as Apulia and Calabria, and larger fragments even fell even in the Vesuvian region. Calabria. So let's see where Calabria is. Calabria is Calabria, Italy. Wow. So yeah, ash traveled pretty far, looks like. There's a Calabria and Apulia. So let's see. So basically, ash fell over this wide area, with large fragments even falling in the Vesuvian area. So it's definitely pretty explosive. And larger fragments fell even in the Vesuvian region. The bulk of the new cone was probably built during the first 24 hours or a little more. And when first climbed on October 2nd, some kind of boiling was observed within the crater. This activity was interpreted as Strombolian, maybe lava, fountaining from a lava lake. Activity increased somewhat on October 3rd, possibly Strombolian, followed by hydromagmatic, but was very weak again on October 4th and 5th, and during most of the 6th. The low-level activity caused many curious visitors to visit the new volcano on that Sunday. And at 10 p.m. on the 6th, however, a sudden explosion occurred, killing 24 visitors. The explosion broke through the south-southeast flank of the cone, or occurred as a powerful blast of scoria drifted southward. The deposit left by this explosion consists of 50 to 60 centimeter diameter scoria with very little extent, only occurring in a small depression on the south-southeast flank that showed no welding or plastic deformation, so likely phreatic. Okay, so it was likely a phreatic eruption. Also, when I try to click here, it's probably not going to show anything. Yep. This is the one I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. You had almost 2 meters of uplift. That occurred between 1982 and 1984. Look at that, almost 2 meters of uplift. Alrighty, let's see. Anything else? Any other earthquakes? Yeah, a couple more small ones. Alright, so let's see. Trying to Lake Avernus. Serapis. Serapis Temple. Very close to the water, but back then, kind of inland, and this area subsided a lot. There it is. Almost there. Oh wait, that's the restaurant. September 2022, only a few months after I visited. Where is it? Look at that. Vista Mare, right there. That's where I was, right here. This is my hotel. This is where I was. Right here, and there is Monte Nuovo. And you may think I'm not. Yep, that's Monte Nuovo right there. See? I'm looking a little bit northwest. See? Right at Monte Nuovo. That's Monte Nuovo right there. Kashai. Oh, that's the Nissan Rogue. That's the Japan. The Nissan Qashqai is their version of. That's Japan's version of the Rogue. Oh, that's the Opel. Opel Meriva. Yep. Anyway, this is September 2022. Let's go to the water. Wow, the water is really... Wait, this is 2018? Hold on. There we go. 2018. Happened again? So let's look at Campi Flegrei again. Still quaking. It's still quaking. Look at that. It's still shaking and quaking. Just doesn't want to stop. Wow, look at that. That's the ground that started to come up. Look at that. Look at all that uplift. Yeah. You see that right there? This is 4 years ago. Look how shallow the water is here. Wow. Some tremors at the end of February 1970, but none was strong enough to have been felt by the population. Wow, that's not good. The evacuation was rushed, poorly explained, and even without interruption, triggers traumatic social consequences. As complex as the following. Many of the tremors. Oh, making matters worse, the ground was swelling. Making matters worse, the ground swelling was accompanied by swarms of micro earthquakes. Many of the tremors were too small to be felt, but when a magnitude 4 quake, oh, by the way, we had a 4.2, juttered Pozzuoli, officials evacuated the city's historic downtown. Pozzuoli became a ghost town overnight. A teenager at the time, Vanorio was among the approximately 40,000 residents forced to flee Pozzuoli and settle in towns scattered between Naples and Rome. The event made an impression on the young Vanorio and inspired her interest in the geosciences. Now an assistant professor at Stanford, Vanorio decided to apply her knowledge about how rocks in the deep earth respond to mechanical and chemical changes to investigate how the ground beneath Pozzuoli was able to withstand so much warping before cracking and setting off micro earthquakes. Oh. The previous strongest quake at Pozzuoli was what caused the evacuation in 1982, and it was only a 4.0. Rocks resembling rolling concrete explain record uplift. Anyway, I'm going to be right back. I just got to go for a second. Yeah, but this is the strongest quake ever recorded at Campi Flegrei. Strongest quake ever recorded. Definitely not good. I'm back. So sorry about the delay there. So let's look at current right now, what's going on. This is major. This is definitely major. Oh, another earthquake just now. Look at that. Not a big one, but it's continuing to quake. P wave, S wave. Now, what is that there? Is that a little foreshock there? Hold on. Yeah, look at that. A little foreshock, and then the main shock hits. Yeah. It's not showing up here, but then you get this big main shock. So earthquake struck at about 1:35. Is that Poland? 4.5. Yet they do a 4.0 in Italy. Search earthquake catalog. Oops. Wow, look at that. A 7.7 1956 Greek earthquake. Oh, wow. So anyway, so let's look at that one more time. I think the worst is over right now. Yeah, it's still swarming a little bit, but Oof. So let's look at the weather models. Still negative NAO type conditions. I'm trying. Let's see. Finally, it's quiet. Bacoli. Ooh, so there's the damage. Oof. Yikes, there's actually been some damage from the quake. Ooh. Ooh, somebody could have been hurt. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna send this to Geology Hub. So there's been damage. Twitter. Okay, let's see. Bacoli. Bacoli.
Terzo piano è al lato di...
Sta abbastanza forte, parliamo.
Sì, fortissimo, no? Forte, fortissimo. Ormai mi ero abituato, no? Per non perdere paura a mia moglie. Però è stata una cosa...
Non ci possiamo riposare più. È cambiata tutta la nostra vita. Si può più o meno mettere.
Quando siamo andati a casa... Come stamattina.
No, ma stamattina è proprio...
Stamattina è stato impressionante proprio.
scoppierà. Corsano si farà in 1000 pezzi. I buoni rideranno e i cattivi piangeranno. Quelli del purgatorio un po' ridono e un po' piangono. I bambini dell'inno diventeranno papà. Dio, speriamo che me la cavo. Il mondo scoppierà, le stelle scoppieranno, il cielo.
I mean, it has nothing to do with the earthquake. See? Oh, strike. Yeah, I've actually taken this train before. When I was in Naples. National Institute for Geophysics and Volcanology. That's the earthquake right here. There we go. Right here, and then yeah, so that is right here, and then the second quake. And schools closed. Wow. Wow. Or is this all fake news? Apple. Yep. awesome. And now, look at that. Starting up again. Anyway, I'm going to sleep. I'm getting tired. I'm on the street, I think. Let me see. We're on the street. Yep. Women. What is he? Onion herd. Yeah. Pretty much true. Oh, what the hell just happened? Kinder ab 12. Jacqueline in Haft bringen. In Haft. Basically have to work. Yeah, children age 12 and over. Yeah, basically police custody. Holy work. Arbeitslosen. Okay. Arbeit needs work. Arbeitslosen. Arbeitslosen. Vershik. privatized privatized Syrian, privatized gegen Muslim, against Muslim immigration, against democracy, criminalization of homosexuality. Damn, this is bad. Atomic weapon. Wow, yeah. This is actually true. The program of the AFD. Privatization. Private. Privatization. SIS. SIEREN. Privatize unemployment insurance. What else? Oh my god. Volks. Hetzung. Rabble rousing. Abshan. ABS. Basher tracker, okay. So I'm going to tell you the program. I'm going to translate it for you. Oh. The program of the AFD. Smashing social security systems. Alcohol and mentally ill people in camps. Stick in stick camps, Sticken. Excluding single parents, detaining children from the age of 12, privatizing unemployment insurance, hundreds of thousands of troops move in, taxing the rich less, state-controlled television, incitement against Muslims, women at the stove, riot to violence, sedition, abolition of democracy, abolition of marriage for all, re-education of homosexuals, extending the lifespan of nuclear power plants, stronger penalties for abortion. I mean, yes, AFD is borderline fascist. I mean, it's true. Like, they're extreme right nationalists. But I was just trying to see if I could read German, but unfortunately, I cannot. I barely do. Right. Anyway, let's go back towards Campi Flegrei. This is once that cap rock breaks, there will be an eruption, no matter of doubt. Without a doubt, yes. True, but it won't happen right away. More likely, similar to 1538. Still years away. So basically, the uplift started in the 1500s, and then the eruption happened about 30, 40 years later. So when will the eruption happen in Campi Flegrei? Well, based on what I'm seeing now, it's definitely going to be this century. It's going to be within our lifetimes. That's a fact. The next earthquake will be in our lifetimes. Is it going to be, I mean, the next eruption will be in our lifetimes. Is it going to be that super eruption that last happened 40,000 years ago? No. Absolutely not. It's not going to be a VEI 7. Won't even be a 6. Won't even be a 5. Most likely it'll be between a VEI 2 and a VEI 4, with the most likely scenario being a mid to high end VEI 3. Sorry, mid end VEI 3. So most likely like the Monte Nuovo eruption. In fact, I'm watching a documentary. It's more of a talk, like a TED talk on Campi Flegrei. There we go. This is the one. Living in a caldera, the case of Campi Flegrei, Italy. This is 6 years ago, by the way.
Before Course Hero, I spent
already uplift was occurring at the time, and they were pointing it out.
Hours looking for help online when I was stuck on homework or studying for tests. Ever since a friend told.
Thanks a lot, and good morning, everybody. And I wish to thank Carlo for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today on volcanoes. In fact, it would be impossible to talk about the Mediterranean region without talking about the volcanoes in the Mediterranean region. And among the many volcanoes we have, Campi Flegrei in Italy is the one that is giving us more concerns. And we'll see why, and we'll see the magnitude of the concern that Campi Flegrei give us today. And we will also see something of some of the activities that we do in order to deal with that. And we will conclude that it's much more what we don't know with respect to what we know, unfortunately. Yep. So, this way. Yeah, okay, first of all, calderas. What is a caldera? It is a volcanic structure which is definitely different from stratovolcanoes. Stratovolcanoes is the kind of volcanoes we are used to think at when we talk about volcanoes. If you ask a baby, a kid, to draw a volcano, he will do probably something like this. But this is...
Wednesday, September.
just one kind, one of Campi Flegrei. We can see here the ring-like structure of Campi Flegrei following the collapse of the structure.
This earthquake happened in this area here. Most of your earthquakes are happening in this region here, pretty much at the center of the caldera. The very center of the caldera. This is the Neapolitan yellow tuff eruption, but the center of the Campanian Ingebride eruption, which happened only 15,000 years ago, is right around Pozzuoli.
Sure. And many other craters and smaller calderas marking the activity occurred after the large caldera forming eruption. After the eruption that produced this depression here, we have many other eruptions which partly filled the caldera depression, while the other part here in Campi Flegrei is under the sea. And that's the case for Yellowstone, which is also another caldera, and the size of caldera can be very variable. At Campi Flegrei we had around 12 kilometers in diameter, but we can go up to 50 or even more. The largest calderas we know are 70, 80 kilometers in diameter. So they are really huge, very big structure. And because they are so large, if you walk in a caldera, you might not have the impression that you are inside a volcano, but that's where you are. Those people there, they live in beautiful places. This is Campi Flegrei in Naples, but they should, and partly they are aware, that they live inside the volcano, not close to the volcano, not on the volcano, they live inside the volcano. And that's the case for Yellowstone, which is a very nice, very beautiful environment, but still, if you walk here and there, you see the signs that this is actually a volcano. This is La Solfatara crater in Campi Flegrei, which is characterized by very large flows of gases coming from the magma, which is still sitting below Campi Flegrei, and it is the very famous Old Faithful geyser in Yellowstone, which is also produced by the heat due to the magma which is below the system. Okay, so just to have an idea of how big are the eruptions which form calderas, here we have the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption in Campi Flegrei, which formed the caldera about 39,000 years ago. 39,000 years ago might seem a lot, but in geological terms, it's more or less like saying a few hours ago. So it's really now. And we have here some events that may happen, like landslides, tornado. This is the Hiroshima bomb, and this is the energy which is expressed in terms of tons of TNT. Okay, so this is about between 10,000 to 100,000 tons of TNT, and this is the eruption of Mount St. Helens, which was a relatively small eruption, and here we are at 10 millions to 100 millions. So it's 1,000 times larger than one Hiroshima bomb. And if we get to the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption, we are another 1,000 times larger than that. 10 billions to 100 billions tons of TNT equivalent. So this is 1,000 times larger than the Hiroshima bomb. And this is 1 million times larger than the Hiroshima bomb. An eruption like that one produces energy which is as large as the impact with an asteroid. So the only fact is that the impact with an asteroid is a recurrence of 100,000 years, while caldera-forming eruptions are more frequent than that on Earth. This is just to give you an idea in terms of volumes erupted. These are the volumes of the product from the largest historical eruptions, okay? So the largest historical eruption is the Tambora eruption in Indonesia in 1815, 50 cubic kilometers of magma. And we can go down here, we have some of the most famous eruption here. This is the Vesuvius eruption in Italy in 79 DC, which produced which killed about 5,000 people in Pompeii and gave us this beautiful archaeological remnants. This is the Krakatoa eruption in Indonesia in 1883, which someone says it inspired the Mook scream or Mook cry, because the volcanic ash, which was spread over the atmosphere and all around the globe, gave for many months a particularly red sky, and that inspired Munch for his celebrated picture. And this is the Tambora eruption, as I told you, in 1815, which produced a year without summer. In 1815 in Europe there was no summer, there was no harvest, and for years the harvests were very poor. That caused heavy famine, deaths, mass migration. So that was really a large-scale event with global implications. These are all caldera-forming eruptions. The biggest eruptions we have in historic time, they were caldera-forming eruptions. So calderas are associated to the largest eruption we know on Earth. And if we have to depict the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption on the same scale, we have to reduce it down because it will be like this. This is the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption, as big as this, compared to what we have seen up to now, which is down here. Some of you may remind the Eyjafjallajökull eruption from Iceland in 2010, which caused the shutdown or air flight operations over Europe for days and caused billions of economic loss. And that eruption sits somewhere here to what we have seen up to now, which is down here. Some of you may remind the Eyjafjallajökull eruption from Iceland in 2010, which caused the shutdown or air flight operations over Europe for days and caused billions of economic loss. And that eruption sits somewhere here. It's a vanishing point at the very beginning of this scale. So that's really nothing in terms of the scale of the eruptions. You can imagine what sun like this might be. It will be something with an impact at the global scale, with consequence which will be very large, not only in Italy, not only in Europe, but on the global scale.
Are your kids in grades 6 to 11? Harvard has made SAT and ACT score submission optional in its admissions process. If they don't require SAT and ACT scores...
Okay, of course, Campi Flegrei, they also produce...
Monte Spino, right here. Monte Novo, somewhere like around here. This is Monte Spino. So there's been 22 eruptions in the last 5,000 years, which correlates to an average about once every 100 years an eruption. Or a little bit over 100 years. A little bit over 200 years per eruption. Let's see, 5,000 divided by 22. Yep, 227 years between an eruption. Yeah, we're way overdue.
With much smaller eruption, we have seen many craters inside the large depression of the caldera, and those eruptions can be much smaller. So if we go back here, this is Tambora is 50 cubic kilometers, this is 300 cubic kilometers. Most of the eruptions, well, all of the eruptions of the last 5,000 years of activity at Campi Flegrei are less than 1 cubic kilometer. But an eruption
Keep in
like
mind, this is, I'm not earning money on my channel, so this is actually fair use.
This one, which is the largest eruption of the last 5,000 years at Campi Flegrei, the Agnano Montespino eruption, this one will be a complete disaster. That's still quite big. It's as big as the Mountain Talents eruption, apart from the fact that Mountain Talents is in a remote area, there is nothing around that. While here we are in the city, in Naples, and we'll see that in a few moments. This is the last eruption at Campi Flegrei, the Monte Nuovo eruption, which occurred in AD 1538. A very small eruption, as you can see, but still an eruption like this one would be a real problem in the area. And that's because 500,000 people live inside the volcano, live inside Campi Flegrei. You can see here from this picture, this is all Campi Flegrei, and Campi Flegrei are bigger than that. And the same city of Naples is sitting inside. A large part of the city, not all the city, is sitting inside Campi Flegrei. Okay, and this is Pozzuoli city, which is also very large. This is the Monte Nuovo eruption, the last eruption in 1538. You can see here it produced this new mountain. Monte Nuovo means new mountain, exactly that. And you can see how urbanized is the area around that. This is a picture showing the eruption in the 16th century. Still there were houses, towns, not the situation as today, of course. In fact, all the area here is heavily urbanized. There are about 3 million people exposed to volcanic hazard from 3 major active volcanoes, which are Campi Flegrei here, a caldera, Vesuvius, very famous Vesuvius volcano, and Ischia Island, which is also an active volcano, which erupted last time in medieval times. Okay, so it's 3 active, dangerous volcanoes and 3 million people living there, with a density of urbanization which in many places is comparable to that of Hong Kong. So it's really a huge problem. It's probably the highest risk, volcanic risk situation in the world. What are those kinds of hazards that are expected when you have a volcanic eruption? Well, a volcanic eruption is different from an earthquake and from a tornado because the kinds of processes producing hazard and risk are very many and very different. You might have a lava flow eruption. You can see here depicted some lava flows, and that is a problem, but this is certainly the lowest risky kind of volcanic activity because lava flows are slow and you can just go away while they are coming. They destroy everything, of course, they very rarely kill people. But if you have an explosive eruption like the one that we see here, instead of having lava flows, you have a mixture of gas and fragmented magma. The fragmented magma is what we call pyroclasts, and that's pumice, volcanic ash, free crystals coming from the magma. It's a mixture of pieces of magma which are fragmented because of the very high speeds of ejection along the volcanic conduit. This volcanic ash can go up into the atmosphere up for tens of kilometers, up to 50 kilometers in very large eruptions, and then it's spread over by the winds. In Mons St. Helens in 1980, the eruption of Mons St. Helens produced ash that traveled eastwards, and after 1 month they came back above Mons St. Helens. So they did the world tour. Okay, and the ash which is spread over into the atmosphere will fall somewhere, producing a fall of ash which accumulates on the ground, and that may create huge problems for the population and also cause the collapse of roofs. So it's a very dangerous source of volcanic risk. But the most destructive kind of volcanic activity is pyroclastic flows. This mixture of gas and ash can go up into the atmosphere if it becomes less dense than the atmosphere surrounding gas. But in some cases it can be denser than the atmosphere. So what it does, it goes up for a while, then collapses down, and it forms avalanches of hot gas and pyroclasts, which are called pyroclastic flows, or someone else called them density caverns, volcanic density caverns, which is the same. And these pyroclastic flows can travel to speeds above 100 kilometers per hour. They have hundreds of degrees of temperature. They can cause very large impact. They have a very large dynamic pressure, so they cause destruction of everything. You cannot brave, absolutely. Everything is destroyed if you are sitting there when the pyroclastic flows goes. There's no way to escape that. And there are many other sources of hazards, but I'm not getting into all of them, just to show you some pictures of what I say. There is, well, lava flows from the very famous Etna will destroy it if you are sitting there when the pyroclastic flows goes. There's no way to escape that. And there are many other sources of hazards, but I'm not getting into all of them, just to show you some pictures of what I say. There is, well, lava flows from the very famous Etna. There are many other sources of hazards, but I'm not getting into all of them, just to show you some pictures of what I say. There is, well, lava flows from the very famous Etna volcano in Sicily. This is instead an eruption like this one. This is Pinatubo in the Philippines in 1991. This is the largest volcanic eruption of the last century.
It was actually 3 days before the climatic eruption.
This column here reached nearly 40 kilometers.
June 12th. The climatic eruption happened June 15th.
Like this one. And you can see the effects of the accumulation of ashes on the ground. So ashes accumulated on the ground that can completely shut off any kind of human activity in the territory and cause death because of respiratory problems, and they can also cause collapse of the of roofs, as I told you. And this is pyroclastic flows. I hope it works. This is pyroclastic flows formed, yes, that's good, formed in Montserrat. You can see here what
and
they
they'll be
look
going
like.
over the water as well.
This is a not avalanche of hot gases and pyroclasts going everywhere. They can also travel on the seas for a while, and they
cushion of steam
completely destroy everything. When a caldera forms, like in Campi Flegrei, that's the major kind of activity that you have. Pyroclastic flows like this one that can travel for very large distances, and we will see something about that. So pyroclastic flows is what produced complete destruction in Montpellier in Martinique in 1902. You can see here the city of Saint-Pierre, 25,000 people killed, and this is again Pompeii and Vesuvius in AD 79, destroyed again by pyroclastic flows. So that's the situation of Naples and Vesuvius today. So if we had 5,000, 6,000 people who died here, now we have millions of people who live here. And this is Naples, and on the other side we have Campi Flegrei. And you can understand how big is the problem in this area. This is a completely urbanized, industrialized areas, large industries, and many, many people living there. Well, getting back to Campi Flegrei, this is the eruption which caused the first formation of the caldera, the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption 39,000 years ago.
It actually had VI7 eruptions going back hundreds of thousands of years.
Where fallout of ash is found today. The red dots are all places where we can find in the field deposits from the fallout of volcanic ash from the volcanic clouds. And you can see how large is this area. Okay, this is Europe, and this is Russia. We are in Russia. This is Greece and whatever. So an impact which is really huge. And once again, here in yellow, this is Campi Flegrei. Here we are looking at the Campanian region. Naples is here. This is Vesuvius, Campi Flegrei, Ischia. And in yellow we have the deposits of the pyroclastic flows. And this is about 120 kilometers. All the major cities in the Campanian region, Benevento, Avellino, Caserta, Napoli, of course, which is here, Salerno, would be reached by pyroclastic flows if an eruption like that one should occur in the future. But you can imagine how big will be the destruction. And that's not the only big eruption which occurred at Campi Flegrei, because 15,000 years ago, another large caldera-forming eruption producing huge pyroclastic flows formed, and that's the Yellow Tuff eruption. This is the Yellow Tuff in Naples. These are the deposits from one single eruption. One single eruption produced all these. So you didn't have that, and a few days after that you have the city which is gone, completely covered by tens and tens, up to more than 100 meters of of material produced by a volcanic eruption. That's what we're talking about.
For neglected and abused animals, their journey from
That's Campi Flegrei and La Solfatara crater that I already showed you. Campi Flegrei, they are an active volcano. There is a huge emission of volcanic gases occurring there. Most of that comes out from La Solfatara and another place which is very near, very close to Solfatara, which is called Pisciarelli.
That's what I went to.
Those are the two areas where the gases come out with the greatest energy at Campi Flegrei. And that creates another source of problems because gases escaping from the ground, as long as they can escape, everything is fine, everything is okay. But if instead, for some reason, the ground is sealed so that the gases cannot escape anymore, pressure can accumulate below the ground, and a phreatic explosion like this one, that is not Campi Flegrei, fortunately, but a phreatic explosion like this one may occur. Most of that comes out from La Solfatara and another place which is very near, very close to Solfatara, which is called Pisciarelli. Those are the two areas where the gases come out with the greatest energy at Campi Flegrei, and that creates another source of problems because gases escaping from the ground, as long as they can escape, everything is fine, everything is okay. But if instead, for some reason, the ground is sealed so that the gases cannot escape anymore, pressure can accumulate below the ground, and a phreatic explosion like this one, this is not Campi Flegrei, fortunately, but a phreatic explosion like this one may occur. And that's very, very dangerous because phreatic explosions, they are a very superficial process, very shallow process, and they are very, very difficult to predict, to anticipate. In fact, most of the volcanologists who go around on volcanoes, they die because of phreatic explosions, because they are nearly impossible to anticipate. And that's also a problem. And you can see here the magnitudes of the energy which is released at Campi Flegrei through the escaping gases. This is a thermal image of Campi Flegrei. In red you can see the hottest parts of the Solfatara crater here, and this is instead the area where the carbon dioxide flux is greater. This is La Solfatara and this is Pisciarelli that I was mentioning you. There are about 2,000 tons per day of carbon dioxide which is released by Campi Flegrei. The amount of carbon dioxide which is released only by Campi Flegrei is larger than the total amount of carbon dioxide released by the volcanic Iceland, by the entire Iceland, which is Pisciarelli that I was mentioning you. There are about 2,000 tons per day of carbon dioxide which is released by Campi Flegrei. There are about 2,000 tons per day of carbon dioxide which is released by Campi Flegrei. This is La Solfatara and this is Pisciarelli that I was mentioning you. There are about 2,000 tons per day of carbon dioxide which is released by Campi Flegrei. The amount of carbon dioxide which is released only by Campi Flegrei is larger than the total amount of carbon dioxide released by the volcanic Iceland, by the entire Iceland, which is entirely volcanic, but the carbon dioxide which comes out from here is larger than that. And this corresponds to about 100 megawatt of thermal energy, which will be a large a large energy plant. 100 megawatt is relatively large. And you can see here the temperature of the aquifer, which can go up to 90 degrees, but certainly the temperatures can be larger than that. And in the Pisciarelli area here, we measure up to 120 degrees in the gases. Okay. So going back to volcanic ash, what do we do in order to deal with that source of risk? Of course, we volcanologists work a lot with processes which are the hazardous zones and define their emergency plans. And the same we do with pyroclastic flows, of course. With pyroclastic flows, things are a bit more complex because we have to deal with topographies and with processes which are really very complex. And this is the result of a numerical simulation. So it's solution of equation. It's not just a cartoon. It's not a movie. It's not Walt Disney. It's a solution of equations describing the dynamics occurring inside a mixture of gas and pyroclasts which may erupt at Campi Flegrei. And whatever you see here, these are pyroclastic flows traveling along the ground. You can see this one here advancing toward Pozzuoli Harbor, the Pozzuoli area, and clearly destroying everything here. So we can again make a number of this simulation with different size, sorry, I have to stick here, with different sizes of expected volcanic eruptions, and see what are the areas which are expected to be impacted. And as you can see here, we can obtain maps like this one. We don't only see the areas, we also see the timing here. We see the concentration of ashes from point to point and their distribution in time. We see the distribution of any other risky factor like concentration of ashes, like temperature, like dynamic.
Anyway, let's look at the thing right now. Okay, anyway, I'm going to bed now. Thank you all for watching, and everyone, good night. Yeah, I'm going to bed.